noticed that Anthony Joshua made an appearance on Jonathan Ross. I'm always sort of reticent when he does these things, when he appears on Graham Norton and shows of that nature, because I think it can be distracting for him. But listen, he's had a successful year. He's rebuilt himself, so he's in the media glare again, and he's the poster boy again. But he made some observations about the length and breadth of his career and how much longer he was going to go on for. And he talked about retirement. And he's mentioned this before, slightly more coded, but this time he mentioned it specifically, didn't he? Do you believe him? In 2 years' time he's going to pack in?
Yeah, I think that Anthony Joshua always said, even when he was younger, when he first turned professional, he always said that he wanted to retire at 35. He is now 35.
Yeah.
And he says he feels that he's got a couple of years left. I think that he feels that there's more to achieve. Look, if he retired tomorrow, two-time world heavyweight champion, you go, you've done it. But he feels that there's more there. I think that he feels that the changing decision and now saying he wants another couple of years is, if you look at the landscape and the time frames and whatnot, you go, right, it sort of makes sense. We look at September, he possibly gets, in September, Wembley Stadium, the winner of Hrgovic versus Dubois for the IBF title, wins that title. I don't know what happens with the other titles once that undisputed happens. I know the IBF becomes vacated. Not sure what happens with the other titles, but we could possibly see then, if Anthony Joshua picks that title up, the winner of Fury Usyk, depending on how that goes in the rematch clause or whatever, he could possibly get the winner of that. And I think that that's what he's looking at, and that's why he's giving himself 24 months. I think once he's achieved what he wants to achieve, 3-time world heavyweight champion, and possibly undisputed, I think that's the goal.
Yeah, I think it's steeped in common sense.
Yeah.
Whether it manifests itself in those exact timelines or whether he stays around longer, you begin to question why. If you can achieve all the things that he will probably have earmarked in the next 2 years, first of all, he's had a year where he's rebuilt himself. He's had 4 fights in that year. He's put himself back into a position. You've got a new game in town, which is the Saudis and the economic power that goes with that. So it would be madness for him to be disappearing into the ether economically, or what was the point of the last year of rebuilding himself? The timelines about when fights can be made are always going to play a part. So I don't think it's an unreasonable suggestion from him. I think fighters often don't know when to leave. Lennox Lewis did it perfectly.
Yeah, well, he's always suggested, and Lennox Lewis is a great example of that. But Anthony Joshua has always suggested, he said, listen, I will not be in this game too long. You see, he sees the damaging effects of some fighters.
He doesn't need to be, does he?
That's what I'm saying.
He's made himself economically secure. He's made huge amounts of money. Probably the highest paid British boxer that has ever existed. He's up there in a sort of the echelons of the finances that Mike Tyson was getting back in the day. So when you look at things. And when I was away, I'm writing a book, and one of the things I'm writing about is about dementia in sport. And it's undeniable that boxing has a problem coming down the line. So Anthony Joshua, looking at the economic returns he's got from the sport, looking at the achievements, looking at a 2-year cycle and getting out with everything together as much as it can be, himself intact, his finances very well secured, his well-being, his legacy and all those things that may become important to him further down the line. I think it's just bloody common sense.
Absolutely. Listen, he's always been a smart kid anyway, and I think that he's never wanted to stay in the game too long. He's got to this stage now, like you say, the last year has been a rebuilding process. I think had that year not gone as well as it would have, he may have considered retirement.
A different discussion.
But he's done what he's done. He's put himself right back in the mix. And now he's thinking, I want the undisputed. I want that. I know he wants to fight with Tyson Fury. He probably wants that third fight with Alexander Usyk. Because he wants to right the wrongs of the first two.
I mean, all that can change, of course, because if we are talking in the way that my mate Eddie Hearn, did you hear what he said about me the other day?
No, go on.
Bloody chic. It was on Piers Morgan's show.
Oh, really?
And they asked him and his dad who was the biggest that they've met.
I saw it I think I saw it on Instagram or Twitter. I saw a clip.
All he had to do was put a mirror in front of himself. He didn't need to bring me into the conversation, did he, for Christ's sakes? But listen, I don't care being facetious about it. But the point I'm making is that Eddie's talking about potentially Hrgovic being the fight, right? And for a world title. Of course, if Anthony were to lose that fight, I think the direction of travel may change.
I think if he loses at any stage of his career now, that would probably spell the end. Well, I don't think there will be a rebuilding process again. I think this is like the last roll of the dice to achieve.
Unless it's a controversial
legacy,
decision.
modern eras and stuff like that. I think that's what. Look, he's financially secure now.
This is about money, Spence.
No, he's financially secure, Simon.
Spence, this is about money.
Listen, trust me though. He's well, you know that anyway.
Spencer, we've all made a lot of money.
Yeah.
And we've all been financially secure at some times.
Talk for yourself,
I had
mate.
100 million quid. I bought a bloody football club. Depends what you do with your money, right? And financial security, I gave it to some very deserving footballers. Silly me, I should have given it to some deserving boxers. But if you've got the ridiculousness of what's being on offer now.
Yeah.
So the scale and quantum increases the appetite.
Absolutely.
I'm not suggesting he's not pricing in the idea that I can make sure that when I leave this industry, 3-time heavyweight champion of the world, and I deal with Tyson Fury. And if he does that, then he'll go out to a fanfare.
Yeah.
And in the same way that some might argue now that Anthony Joshua has reclaimed boxing, because by the very nature of his profile now after the Ngannou fights, because of the battle that was going on, has MMA got itself into a situation where it's the more prevalent combat sport, and is heavyweight boxing a laughing stock when the so-called lineal, well not so-called, he is the lineal champion, Tyson Fury, but arguably the greatest heavyweight around gets almost humbled by Ngannou, and along rides in Anthony Joshua and corrects that thought process. So everything has arrived at a perfect time for him.
Restored the faith in boxing, really. In many
that's
ways.
what we said the other day, and he deserves to be given all the praise that he should be given for that. He talked also in that Jonathan Ross interview about Tyson Fury, that he'll use Tyson Fury's words as fuel.
Yeah.
So basically, what's Tyson Fury called him? I called him a flat track bully once, right? But he calls him a bodybuilder. He calls him a variety of different things. A dosser. Well, he calls everybody a dosser.
Yeah.
He probably calls himself a dosser.
Sausage. Well, that was the word.
Well, he calls everyone a sausage as well, doesn't he?
All right,
we're all in that gang. He probably calls himself it in the mirror. You're a sausage. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. Right?
That's very good, by the way. Very good.
But what do you? I mean, I think I know what he means, which is the motivation, and I'm going to turn this on its head.
Yeah.
When he says those things, what do you think is going through his mind? Why does he say those things?
Well, because a boxer needs something to fuel off. A boxer needs something to feed the fire, really, to get yourself motivated and that's exactly what he's talking about. He's saying, right, listen, he'll use that and he'll feed off it, as opposed to turning it into a negative thing. He'll feed off it, and I think that's exactly where he's coming from. He's a smart kid, Anthony Joshua. He knows what he's doing, and I think that right now he's in the best place he's probably ever been, as in mentally, phically, and
he knows himself, doesn't he?
He knows himself,
exactly. Overcome adversity.
Yeah,
I still want the question asked and answered, because we have yet to see. And I think you've said to me, and others have said to me, it's never been about whether Anthony Joshua can take a punch. It's whether he's prepared to go to the space and place that he has to be able to overcome that adversity. So people say, because I always say, well, he's yet to take a shot. Let's take a shot in his 4 fights. Franklin, and Hellenius and Otto Wallin and Ngannou, they didn't really test him in that respect. And we still got that question to be asked and answered. But you don't think that's a question that needs to be answered. You think the main question was, does he have the drive? Does he have the
self-belief
to overcome?
Yeah.
And you think those questions have been absolutely answered?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I'm very, very confident on that.
Do you think? I mean, we've got, has the Hrgovic-Dubois fight been made? It has, hasn't it?
The Hrgovic-Dubois has been made, and it will be for the vacant IBF title. That is going on June the 1st.
So that is for the vacant IBF title?
IBF title.
Yes, it was, because last time we discussed that before I went away, it was indeed that. So Daniel Dubois, I mean, whatever you may say about criticisms of promoters, I mean, Frank got him a shot for the WBA.
Yeah.
They had all the challenges after that situation where he lodged an appeal and expected the WBA to come in and give him a rematch.
Yeah.
He's now got him a fight for the IBF belt.
Yeah.
So Daniel Dubois can't complain about his promoter, can he?
Absolutely.
I mean, he's worked the oracle there, Frank.
I think that what Frank has done there is genius, really. I mean, he's sort of like, Daniel Dubois, he sort of built him up. Yeah. And then when he got knocked down, he picked him back up again and he's put him into this position. I mean, Dubois has done well doing the last fight against Miller. It was a good performance, put himself back in the mix. But to get himself an IBF Title shot is great. I mean, yeah, respect to Frank Warren.
I tell you what, though, it does make the question abound. If Dubois were to beat Hrgović, which is entirely plausible,
yeah, absolutely,
he's got the toolkit to do it.
Absolutely.
Would Anthony Joshua want to fight Daniel Dubois for a strap?
At Wembley, huge fight.
Would he?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm not questioning the courage. I'm questioning the risk reward of a British fighter that's not Tyson Fury, that won't pay as much as Tyson Fury fight pays. Because if Anthony goes in against Daniel Dubois and loses to Dubois, and he's not only losing the opportunity to win a world title, he's losing to a British fighter.
I understand that, legacies and all that.
Absolutely. Real jeopardy there,
absolutely. But 100%, 110%, that's like, it doesn't matter who's there. I think September, Wembley Stadium, Anthony Joshua fighting for that IBF title. I think that, yeah, it doesn't matter if it's Dubois or Hrgović, Joshua goes for it.
Closing off the subject of Anthony, if he completes the trilogy of getting 3 heavyweight championships, he joins a very unique company.
Yeah.
And very unique in terms of, from a British fighting point of view. Where do you think it will leave him in the history books? I mean, the history books, I mean, in heavyweight boxing, I think it leaves him unassailable in British boxing, because we won't have had a heavyweight champion. Lennox Lewis, obviously.
Lennox Lewis was two-time. Yeah, Lennox Lewis was two-time world heavyweight champion.
But we won't have had a 3-time heavyweight champion.
Listen, I think when you're looking at 3-time world heavyweight champions, you're talking about Muhammad Ali. 4-time world heavyweight champion was Evander Holyfield. Mm-hmm. You know, he won it against Buster Douglas, didn't he? Then Michael Moorer, then he had the Riddick Bowe fight, then Mike Tyson. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you're talking about, and I think that's it. You've got Muhammad Ali 3 times and Evander Holyfield, who's a very elite club. And forget who he's won the titles from and how he's done it and everything else. I think that you have to say that Anthony Joshua, if he becomes a 3-time world heavyweight champion, will go down as an all-time great.